The Jaguar XK8 and XKR, the top 10 faults to watch out for. This video covers just what you need to know as a buyer's guide, without being too complicated for you to remember. Click on the link above for a playlist of videos about many of these common faults and how to fix them. The XK8 XKR X100 series was in production for 9 years, with different years having distinctly common faults, which means you need to know your car that you're considering to buy. The individual concerns tend to fit into 3 distinct ranges: the first release, the facelift of 2001, and the second facelift of 2003. As long as you know which of these ranges the car belongs to, you'll be able to distinguish the appropriate faults to look out for. The XK8 was first released in 1996, and it was a major change for Jaguar to build a V8 production car, even though the running gear was based on the 1975 XJS that was powered by a V12. And before that, Jaguar production heritage had been with straight 6-cylinder engines since the XK120 in 1948. The first 290 brake horsepower XK8 shows a styling throwback to the E-Type, with its oval grille and silver horizontal bar with those black overriders. The supercharged 370 brake horsepower XKR version was released 2 years later in 1998. And these are the differences for you to be able to recognise the contrasting models. The first XK8 release had a 4-litre normally aspirated V8, with styling differences from the later models being the recessed fog lights, the oval grille with the silver horizontal bar with the black overriders, and the different rear lights. The first model XKR was differentiated from the normally aspirated XK8 by having a mesh grille without the silver bar. It had larger tailpipe finishes and of course the iconic air vents in the bonnet. From 1996 to 2001, both the XK8 and the XKR had a 5-speed automatic transmission. The XK8 has a ZF and the XKR had transmission from Mercedes. After 2001, all models had a ZF 6-speed gearbox. No XK8 or XKR production cars were ever offered with a full manual transmission. Cat's dampers were standard on XKR models and optional on the XK8, and you can check by looking for that cable coming out of the top of the damper under the bonnet. Cat's uses motion detectors in the car to decide if it needs to firm up the shock absorbers. The 2001 facelift had flush front fog lights. The rear received a more modern feel, with the lights having chrome surrounds and a chrome plinth with external release on for the boot, and that replaced the hidden keyhole of the first release model. The 6-disc CD player became standard, and the optional sat-nav replaced the 3 centre dials. The 2003 to 2005 facelift had a major change to the engine capacity, with the AJ28 being 300 brake horsepower in a 4.2-litre engine for the XK8 and a 400 brake horsepower for the XKR. External changes for the last facelift were pretty imperceptible, except for the xenon headlights, standard on the XKR and optional on the XK8. And if you need more information about the cars, there's an excellent 64-page book that goes into great detail: Jaguar XK8 and XKR, 1996 to 2005, The Essential Buyer's Guide, and the link's in the description below. Now that you've confirmed which model you're planning to purchase, it's time to see the common faults for each of the 3 series: 1996 to 2001, 2001 to 2003, and the 2003 to 2006, from when the X150 alloy-bodied models were released. The big differences to watch out for are, of course, between the 4-litre and the 4.2-litre cars, with the desirability sweet spot being generally agreed on with the 4.2 engine models. And the advice is to look for the latest model that you can afford. However, it's a balance. Condition and maintenance service records should count for more than just the age or the mileage. At the end of the day, the V8 engine will be good for several 100,000 kilometres, and it's the running gear that will need to keep up. Again, with any car, it's the regular servicing that's important and gives you a window into how well the previous owners have treated the car. For pricing purposes, categorise cars into these mileage ranges as being roughly equal, and depending on condition, of course. Cars in the teens will be the most expensive. 30,000 to 60,000 K group should have similar prices. Then there's the 60 to 80K, and then treat those with 100 to 200 equal, with anything over 200 being at a lower value. If a car's a different price in the range with others in the category, ask yourself why. Bargains are unlikely, and if it sounds cheap, there's probably a catch. When you're deciding within these categories, it's the car that's got the good service record that's the best value, and of course balance that with condition. I can't give indicative pricing, as it varies vastly from country to country. Look at the price ranges advertised at your location and be aware that the advertised price is not what the car will sell for, but at least you'll get a feeling for the price ranges. From this point now, I'll discuss the common concerns that you need to look out for. Now that you've got the model, the year and mileage condition sorted in your mind. And don't forget that you can virtually discount any of the concerns if there are records of the majors being repaired in the past. Of course, that doesn't count the normal maintenance items like tyres, batteries and brakes. If there aren't any service records, then you best accept those repairs have not been attended to, even if you're verbally told they've been done. And first, you should be aware that there are drastic differences in the common faults between the model years, especially for the first series from 1996 to 2001. So I'll treat the specific concerns of that series first, and then include the other cars after 2001 in the general things to look out for. There are 3 items to be concerned about in the early series that either should have been attended to or you need to budget to have them done. Whatever, it's imperative that these 3 things are fixed and crossed off your list. Otherwise, don't buy the car. And they are plastic chain tensioners, water pump housing and Nikasill bore liners. In reality, the Nikasill lining issue is most likely to have solved itself by this time. It will have either been fixed or is no longer a likely problem. Without going into great detail, the Nikasill bore linings were used by a number of car manufacturers, including Jaguar at that time, and it was mainly only a concern in countries with sulphur in the fuel. Most of those countries have replaced the engines under warranty. Cars affected were from 1997 to August 1999, and the VIN numbers are for the AJ26 engines, and they're listed on the screen. Cars from 2000 had steel liners, so those cars weren't affected. And you can check for replaced engines. There's a tag on the back of the engine. In fairness though, Nikasill affected engines are not a real problem anymore, but it does place some negativity on the value of those early cars. Next is the water pump housing on the early cars, and this will need to have been replaced by now or it will be showing coolant leaks. Check the service records. If not done, you'll have to organise straight away to do it after purchase. The impeller in the water pump, for cars up to 2001, was plastic, and it's almost guaranteed to fail. Any plastic impellers should be replaced with metal. The third item is the most serious, and it will cause an engine failure if not attended to. Plastic chain tensioners were used in all cars up until 2001, and after the engine number on the screen from August 2001, they were metal. The early cars' tensioners need to be replaced with metal, no question. And if there's no evidence of the timing chains having been done, budget to do them after you purchase the car, or don't buy. Deduct the cost from the buying price, and US $2,000 is a reasonable indication for parts and labour from an independent mechanic, and it'll be more from a Jaguar dealer. Take in mind that many official dealers will not repair cars of this age anyway. Now for the list of categories for all the different facelift models, from the least worrisome to the most important. And at the end, I'll list the 10 most important faults to watch out for from each of the following categories. And the first one, modifications. Always ask the current owner if any modifications have been added to the car, and this will give you an idea of the way the car's been treated, and also, more importantly, you need to be aware that modifications will increase your insurance costs. Common items that may have been done to your car could be an upgraded exhaust, a remapping, and a pulley upgrade for the XKR, and even larger wheels. Modifications can indicate that the car may be used in track work, so check that out too. Interior. Check all the leather. Cars of this age will have wear in the leather, and it's best to be thought of as patina. Look for cracks that are deep. They can be an issue. Minor cracks can be covered quite simply. There's no chance that the leather will be perfect, but if it is, either the cars are very low mileage or the leather's been replaced. Generally speaking, leather can last indefinitely, with patina of course, when it's regularly treated with a good leather cleaner and conditioner, and even cracks can be repaired as a DIY exercise. Check that the seat position memory buttons operate. Check that the handbrake holds and releases. The head lining can sag. This is not as common an issue as in the later X150 models, but look for loose material on the A-pillars and any signs of sagging, particularly around the rear window. Check for damp footwells, which will indicate rust on the under tray and also bad fitment around the door seals. And once it's there, the smell of dampness is just about impossible to remove anyway. It pays to check all of the infotainment system to see everything's working. Check that the whip antenna is operating and retracts all the way into the bodywork. Check reception on the radio. And the body. Rust is a big issue in the sills, the wheel arches and the under tray. Condensation of the headlights is common, and it'll corrode the silver reflecting surface. Check that the outside of the headlights is not cloudy. This is something that can be done DIY. Use it as a bargaining point when you're negotiating the price. The grey painted windscreen surround can have stone chips and may be letting water inside the car. It could need replacing, which means that the screen would need to come out. Also check the windscreen for any chips or damage. Check the retracting roof and convertibles. And if the roof's not frequently used, the mechanism can seize up. The hydraulic fluid needs replacement if the colour's brown, and if it's a green colour, it's okay. The dreaded green shower, though, is when the hydraulic system fails and the fluid is all over the interior of your car. So if you're buying a convertible, have the hydraulics checked soon after purchase. Next is suspension. The suspension is carried on steel subframes, which can rot a little along the seams. So take a look at their condition. Surface rust is common, and depending on the country, if salt's been used on the roads in winter, then there could be serious rust. Worn bushes are common on high mileage cars, and it will need to be on a hoist to be able to see those worn bushes. But you can check while driving though. Driving slowly and in a safe location, aim at a target and turn while braking. The car should remain stable. If not, suspect worn bushes or other suspension issues. Check for uneven tyre wear, as that's another indicator of worn bushes. And check the tyres for age. Old tyres go brittle and can split, and they definitely need to be replaced before 10 years of age, and more prudently between 5 and 6 years. Factor that into the cost, and do it immediately after acquiring the car. Check the shape of the alloy wheels, especially the 20-inch rims, because they could warp after hitting potholes. The engine bay. I mentioned Nikasill bore linings and the timing chain tensioners for the earlier cars. Don't discount the importance of these. As far as the transmission goes, don't believe those that tell you it's sealed for life. The oil and the filter need to be changed around every 80,000 K. Check the engine oil is clean with a dipstick. Check the coolant in the header tank, as well as signs for coolant leaks, pink or green, around the header tank. And the header tank itself is also prone to splitting, as is a likely failure of the sensor inside the header. You can buy aftermarket units on eBay. The thermostat's plastic, and it can fail, resulting in an engine overheating. And it's easily checked by listening for the cooling fan running for a long time. And you'll likely see coolant around the housing. Feel the radiator, it'll be comparatively much cooler than the engine cover. Carefully just touch the radiator and the plastic engine cover to compare. Simple answer, if the thermostat is not being replaced, budget to do it immediately after you purchase the car. Water pumps are also an issue, particularly with the early cars, as they had plastic impellers. Again, the engine will be hot. And you can check the water pump with a cold engine, which isn't much help if you've just come back from a test drive, but make sure you do check if you do buy the car. So when the engine's cold, remove the filler cap on the header tank and watch for the swirling coolant. Next is the battery. Battery condition is the biggest cause of what erroneously appears to be a fault on the XK. A new battery should be installed every 4 years as a wise precaution. It seems that whenever there's an unexplained fault with an XK, first blame the battery rather than anything mechanical. And a big trap with diagnosing faults is that the battery may appear to be in good condition now, but the apparent faults could have been caused while the battery was in low charged condition. But seriously, many problems can be traced back to a poor performing battery, but also don't ignore red lights that appear in the dashpod. Just because you think it was caused by a battery issue doesn't mean it's not a real issue. And if there's no record of a battery change within the last few years, budget to replace the battery when you take delivery of the car. A Trickle Charger is a sensible choice to prevent the battery draining, and the CTEC MXS5 appears to be the most popular. Also, a battery jumper starter is recommended. Both are listed in the description below. Mechanical inspection. Don't buy the car without a mechanic's inspection. And it's important that the mechanic be someone that knows Jags, or at least a mechanic who's used to British cars. And remember to ask the mechanic to give you a readout of the codes when he checks the OB2 port, and it could be useful to get your own code reader reset up. And these are the checks you need to do first before talking to an inspection mechanic, as they could save you the cost of the mechanic in the first place. These initial checks should take about 10 minutes to perform before you test drive the car. And when you talk to the owner to make an appointment to view the car, ask them not to start the engine until you get there so you can start it from cold. Before test driving, look for rust in the upper body, sills, wheel arches, between the rear bumper and the boot, and at the same time look for signs of previous crash repairs, such as mismatched paint or ripples in the finish. Check the inside of the boot for wetness. Also check the driver's and the passenger's carpet for wetness. So if you're happy with the basic condition of the car, interior trim and body, then go for the test drive. After getting in the driver's seat, adjust the mirrors and the steering wheel position. Some models have an auto steering wheel position that commonly fails. Check the instrument pod doesn't show any warnings. Restricted performance warning is a good clue as not to buy the car. Lower the driver's window before starting the car so you can hear the engine's noise and rattles, because they could be timing chain issues. Be sure the engine starts properly, idles smoothly, and look in the rear vision mirror for smoke from the exhaust when you heavily push the throttle. And then when first putting the car into drive in the reverse, there shouldn't be any jerks or clunks, and it should feel smooth as you drive away. And when continuing, the changes should be almost seamless. There are degrees of smoothness. You'll feel the initial engagement, but it shouldn't be aggressive. The changes when driving will be smoother and almost imperceptible. While still driving, try the manual selector positions. Make sure the transmission engages within about a second of the selector being moved. Put the windows up to check for interior and wind noises. Jaguars in general are designed to be quiet and comfortable cars, and if 20-inch wheels are fitted, expect some road judder, but there shouldn't be any excessive bumps in the ride. Be aware of the car wandering. In a safe location, at a lower speed, aim at a target and brake hard while turning. The motion of the car should feel precise. Finally, check the cruise control before ending the test drive. And if you're happy with the drive, when stopped, take notes of the issues that you want to check. Then from the driver's seat, check the electric seats, check the air conditioning, the lights and indicators, and the infotainment system. The 6-speed CD changes are prone to failure. Now get the mechanic to check. Give them your notes from the issues that you've found. And make sure the car goes on a hoist to check underneath. Rust, oil, coolant leaks, worn bushes. And now finally, the top 10 checklist. Tick these off as you check them. Timing chain tensioners, Nikasill linings, water pump, thermostat failure, coolant leaks, rust in the sills, wheel arches, under tray, wet carpets can indicate that. Transmission oil change has been done. Worn bushes, condensation in the headlights, the battery, and finally the leather condition. And don't read all of these so-called faults as a reason not to buy the Jaguar XK8 or XKR. All brands of cars can have issues, and what I'm attempting to do here is to show you those that can be particular to the XK, so you get to buy the best car available. The XK8 and XKR have surprising creature comforts for a car of their age, and they can be approaching classic status. In most countries, they're surprisingly low priced. A good XK8 feels like a polished and sophisticated GT car, and it's certainly not a sports car, though the XKR does have enough under the bonnet to please all but those hardened boy racers. Thanks for watching.